She sat by herself at the bar of the restaurant. Her only company was a book. I sidled up near her, 2 stools apart, maybe 3, as casual as I could muster. I would quote what I said, but my attempt at a joke sputtered out of me so poorly that I'm not even sure it made sense. She looked up at me and there was a moment of silence between us so awkward. You could have stabbed me in the groin and I wouldn't have noticed. Her face quickly went from confusion to disgust. My mind raced for some sort of recovery, some sort of new, more clever joke to make up for my failed attempt at my original, semi-clever joke. Nothing came. In the past, I sulked away in this situation having embarrassed myself again, but this time something in me snapped, or not snapped, but rather, something resigned itself. I sighed and said, "I'm sorry, I was trying to be clever, I just wanted to say hi." The air eased between us a bit. Her disgust faded and she gave me kind of a friendly grin. "It's okay, it was a nice try, I guess." I laughed. "No, it wasn't." She laughed and I sat down next to her. Attraction and your intentions. There's a lot of advice on attracting women out there, and what most of it misses is that attraction, seduction, intimacy, sex, whatever you want to call it, is an emotional process, not a physical or social one. You can say the wrong things and still attract a woman. You can say all of the right things and repel her. What matters is the intention, the motivation, the authenticity. To improve your dating life, you must improve your emotional life, how you feel about yourself and others, how you express yourself to others, etc. It's not about learning lines or routines or dressing up a certain way. It's about unmasking the unique and attractive man within yourself and joyfully expressing it to the women of the world. That may sound vague, but it has very real repercussions on your interactions with women. People choose who they're going to be with based on how they feel around that person. For us men, it's often quite simple. A beautiful woman makes us feel aroused, so we pursue sex with her. If we feel cared for, respected and admired by her, we pursue a relationship with her. But women experience sexuality differently than we do, so it can be a bit more complicated and hard for us to decipher what makes them feel attracted to us. But the principle remains the same. Women go with men who make them feel a certain way. There are a number of ways to elicit emotion in a woman, and the way in which you go about eliciting that emotion will determine the quality and quantity, or lack thereof, of the relationships you have with women. What I'm saying is this: you'll find a lot of varying advice out there on how to attract women. Some will say to tease them, some will say to be selfish and rude around them, some will say to buy them gifts, others will say to be cold and calculating. Whichever of these avenues you choose to pursue with women, that is the corresponding relationship you'll create. If you choose to be cold, calculating and manipulative with women, you will naturally screen for women who will create a cold, calculating and manipulative relationship with you. If you pursue women with a neediness and an idealization of them, then you will attract equally naive and insecure women who will create a relationship of neediness and false idolization. If you pursue women in a rude and harsh manner, you will attract women who respond to harsh emotions and elicit harsh emotions themselves. I encourage men to pursue women with honesty and authenticity because this screens for women who are honest, authentic and conscientious themselves, making for far better relationships. The other reason I encourage men to pursue women with authenticity is that communicating your sexuality with women openly forces you to become a confident and integrated man. In the short term, this can be more painful and difficult, but in the long run, this reduces emotional neediness and molds you into a bold and confident man who draws women to him like a magnet. Bravery and desire. The biggest aphrodisiac in the world is someone who likes you and isn't afraid to show it. If status creates sexual attraction in women, then demonstration of desire creates sexual arousal in women. Without getting too deep into the research on female arousal, it's messy and confusing, which shouldn't surprise you. The leading theory on female arousal is women are turned on by bold behaviors, displays of bravery, and direct sexual desire, particularly when directed at the woman who is getting aroused. Whether it's Fabio the firefighter or the sexy surfer who braves the 20-foot waves in frigid waters or the solider coming home from Nowhereistan, displays of bravery turn women on more than anything else. If you don't believe me, go to your local bookstore and look at the romance novels. Romance novels are basically porn for women, and you'll find that they all feature warriors, soldiers, bad boys, race car drivers, football players, firefighters, jet pilots, and enter your super sexy and dangerous occupation here. And not only are these men racy and exciting, but they're usually brash and debonair. They say what they want and go after it without apology. But what does this mean for a couple regular guys like you and me? It means being nervous around her is going to be a pretty big turn off. Afraid to talk to her, afraid to ask her out, afraid to kiss her, afraid to take her home. Fabio the firefighter wouldn't be afraid to ravish the shit of her, so why should you? What it means is that despite every woman you've ever heard complain about men hitting on them, bold displays of interest actually work in your favor the majority of the time, as long as they're demonstrated in a manner that is not too threatening or disrespectful. I approached a girl in the mall and told her that I thought her body was beautiful. She smiled and said thank you. She was ecstatic. I wasn't nervous saying it, but I felt like it was wrong. But then as I saw the positive reaction from her and the other girls I said this to, I started feeling empowered. I developed an unusual sense of confidence. I'm a sexual male, and know that they are sexual women, and that it's natural to act as such. A proper and honest sexual expression is powerful, and in our society, rare. In fact, there's a lot of societal pressure to hide and disassociate from our sexuality. Many of us grow up with a great deal of sexual shame, and not only does this keep us afraid of expressing our sexual desires openly, but it creates an unhealthy neediness and worship of sex. Because honest and respectful demonstrations of sexuality are so rare, not only are women aroused by it, but it often hits them like a breath of fresh air. Take the first step toward becoming the irresistible man you were meant to be. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Until next time, stay confident, stay charismatic, and stay irresistible.